Maybe you can read that, maybe you can't, but that is the entrance to Ramsgill, which is where Checkpoint 2 is situated, and we've just passed that. Checkpoint 1 we arrived at so early they hadn't got the refreshments out, but Checkpoint 2 I had my little glass of squash, which was rather nice. Oh my goodness, he's a bit weird, isn't he? His focus on this thing is going. I've had this camera quite some time now. It was bought the week of my sister's wedding in June 2011. We're now May 2013. I think this is the longest serving camera since I started in 2008. So it's not a surprise that eventually things begin to fall apart. Right, so now we're well on our way to Loft House. In fact, the next checkpoint is Loft House, which will be checkpoint 3 in the scout hall there, which is fine by me. I haven't actually looked at the time, but I still haven't had seen many people. I've had another 2 people pass me. They were marching past, literally. So there we are. So just before we reach Loft House, we'll cross an overflow area for the River Nid, and that's where we will stop to have the major food that I've bought, which will probably be an early lunch, I would have thought, because you can break from the path and get down under the bridge and onto the riverbank, and it's really, really scenic and ever so nice. And so that will be the next stopping point. I'm doing all right with my provisions at the moment, so though I have to say, the further you go, the more you've eaten, so obviously the lighter your bag gets, which is always nice. So there we are, and I've got my headphones with me for later on in the journey when I get bored, which will happen on the return journey after we visit Loft House for the second time, because as you probably know by now, this is a figure of 8, and so when we get to Loft House we go on to Scar Hill, where checkpoint 4 is, but then we loop round and arrive back in Loft House at checkpoint 3, and then we go a different way, and we skip, I think, checkpoint 2 altogether, and then arrive back at Goldthwaite for checkpoint 1 again, before we collect our little certificate in the Scout Hall at Pateley Bridge, where we sign off having done it, if of course we make it in time. There's my foot. This is how close they are. There are 4 cockerels. Where's the 4th one over there? Oh, they came from over the top. I don't have any food. Well, I do, but I better not feed them because I think they belong to whoever's in that house at the top there. How weird is this? I'm going to have to move on, my little feathered friends. I don't want to feed you because you could be... Look at them. Not in the least bit frightened, even when I do move. Although one of them's given up and gone home by the look of it. I'm going to have to carry on, I'm afraid. But thanks for greeting me. It's like a guard of honour, isn't it? This gives you a little bit of a taster. This is the River Nid as it leaves leaves Howstein Gorge. Howstein Gorge is the second gorge, in fact, on the same river, and Howstein Gorge is up there, basically. Now we swing this way to head towards Loft House, and to go to Howstein you need to be heading up that way, up along there. We've never done Howstein. Although it is an ambition of mine. You can see the sign there. Whoops, Howstein Gorge. Just before checkpoint 3 even, just outside Loft House. This is also the River Nid flowing here, but it's a different river running parallel to the one that goes through Howstein Gorge, because this is, ironically, a sort of River Nid overflow. And as you can see, it's higher than it was last time we were here, but not incredibly high, and it just literally flows down, and the two streams join together just like they sort of parted, I think at Howstein Gorge, but I could be wrong. And we're just about 10:30 in the morning, which is a good time because I want to sort of be back at Loft House by sort of 1 o'clock at the latest, with this little extra addition to the walk, which will push it to 22 miles, which I haven't been on, and which I'm going to take slower, obviously, so that I can, you know, take videos and pictures. But first, as is my custom when I get to this point, it's time to have the second major meal on this trip. The first one I have before I start, and this is pretty much the one I'm having part of the way through. So I'm going to enjoy that before going on into Loft House to the checkpoint. I won't hang around at that checkpoint, I shall go straight on to do the little addition, and then if there's time I will spend longer resting at the same checkpoint when I return and we are on our way back.